So I'm here with the Blue Vervain, and the flowers have just begun, and they're a beautiful kind of bluish purple. And Blue Vervain is native to us here in Maine, and the Latin name is Verbena hastata. I kind of like saying that, Verbena hastata. I think it's a very cool Latin name. And this plant, we've been growing this plant for many, many years in our garden, and because this is one of our native plants, I let this plant reseed in many, many places in the garden, which I love to do with some of our wild plants because I don't want to necessarily contain them. And Blue Vervain prefers to grow where the soil is a little bit damp, and it will grow mostly where there's sun. It will grow with a little bit of partial shade. Right here in the center of the garden, it reseeded itself, and I left this Blue Vervain because this area in the fall and winter gets a little bit damp, and I will let this plant just reseed here, and then there'll be dozens of little baby seedlings in the spring that I can take up, and then will plant them in some different parts of the garden because we use quite a bit of Blue Vervain. And so we just did our harvest this week, and you want to gather Blue Vervain when she first starts to flower. So there's still a few more flowers to come out, and I will gather like the whole flowering top. And what's really interesting about Blue Vervain is this main stalk is very, very rigid. And when I think of Blue Vervain coming up to the flowering top, I think about any of us who hold a lot of tension and rigidity in our necks, and also even emotionally we might feel a little bit tight or not very flexible. Blue Vervain really helps us to kind of loosen up that tightness and tension in the neck, which allows there to be more ease in the way all the circulation to the mind. So it allows there to be a little bit more ease in the mind because we're helping to just relax and loosen up that tightness in the neck. So particularly, I first started to use Blue Vervain, I don't know, maybe 25 years ago. I was using a Blue Vervain tincture, just a few drops, like 3 drops, 5 drops, for folks with a lot of premenstrual tension and stress. So bringing a lot of ease to the nervous system, and when there starts to be agitation and heating up of emotions premenstrually, I found Blue Vervain to be very, very supportive. And also I've used Blue Vervain for a lot of folks going through menopause. Blue Vervain is cooling. That bitter taste is cooling to the body. And so for anybody going through menopause, again, when there's heat symptoms, when agitation and stress may be really rising up, which can really go on for quite a while for some folks going through menopause, I say keep Blue Vervain tincture by your bed. So if you wake up at the night either with excess heat or sweating, or your mind feels really agitated and you just need some support in cooling the body, cooling some of those hot flashes, and just helping to relax the body more, I find Blue Vervain to be really, really valuable. I also really love to let Blue Vervain seed in the garden because this is one of, we have a lot of native bumblebees here in Maine, and Blue Vervain, when Blue Vervain starts to flower, will have various bumblebees all over the flowers. So it's a lovely one to grow in an herb garden to be able to make fresh Blue Vervain tincture. You can dry it for tea if you prefer it that way. It's a bitter tasting tea, but for some folks they may prefer tea instead of a tincture. And I think it's a lovely one, as I said, just to let it kind of reseed around the garden and learn where it likes to grow in your garden, and always have this beautiful native plant growing.